Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm going to be your host, the Irrelevant Nerd. Today, I'm going to be ranking all 8 Harry Potter films from the worst to the best. To be clear, I do enjoy all of the Harry Potter movies, so even the one that's going to be in number 8, I do still enjoy and like watching. The holiday season is just always the time of year that I feel like rewatching these movies, so I figured now would be a good time to stop and rank them because I just finished watching The Deathly Hallows Part 2 a few days ago. This, of course, is just my personal preference, and it's not like a ranking of like accuracy to the books or anything like that. It's like just ranking my enjoyment of the movies. Make sure you comment your list down below. I would love to see it. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. Number 8, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I do think there is plenty to enjoy about this movie, mainly everything kind of around the Tom Riddle mystery and the mystery of the Chamber of Secrets itself, and you have the mystery of trying to figure out who the heir is through the entire movie. Is it Malfoy? Is it Harry? And there are signs that point to both, and you have Dobby's shenanigans all throughout the movies, which I do love Dobby. He can be irritating, but I love him, and I love how he gets freed in this movie. I think they do that scene incredibly well, and when he's able to blast Lucy and Malfoy back, I think that is such a great moment. Unfortunately, the biggest thing that holds this movie back for me is the pacing. Like, it's the shortest book, but it's the longest movie, and so I guess in a way it's the most direct adaptation, but it's just boring in parts. It feels like it drags, and it is just too long. And so when I'm watching through, it's just the least rewatchable of all of the movies to me, just because there are so many scenes that just feel like bleh in a way. Number 7, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I think this movie has a great mystery atmosphere kind of built around the search for the Horcrux. The emotional aspects of the movie work really well, in particular Dumbledore's death. Like, it does hit pretty hard, and you feel it, and you feel bad for the characters. It's devastating, and the movie is also paced very quickly. There is not a lot of time to be bored in this movie, but that is, while I think it is a strength, sometimes I do think the pacing is a little too quick at times, like especially when Dumbledore and Harry are off searching through the Horcrux. It just feels like it breezes over some stuff very just way too quickly. And of all of the movies, I do think that this is the ugliest. Like, not worse special effects or anything like that, just the color palette of the film reminds me a lot of the very first Twilight movie. It's just that kind of green, gray, and I just hate the way that it looks. And my biggest gripe with this movie is really how they change the ending. And I don't really rank these books based off of or rank these movies based off accuracy to the books, but there is something missing with the change to Dumbledore's death and Harry just being told to be quiet instead of being frozen by Dumbledore, because Dumbledore froze him because he knew Harry well enough to know that there was no way that Harry wouldn't step in and intervene, even with Snape coming in and telling him to be quiet. So I thought that was a weird change. And even with Snape telling Harry to be quiet, it clearly indicates his allegiance, where in the book it's a little bit more gray, and you're really wondering whose side is he on. And so I feel like the movie just lacks that at the end, and you can feel it, and you don't see the funeral, and you don't have the battle for Hogwarts where Dumbledore's army and all that shit's trying to come in. So the way the finale plays out feels very strange, so that's why it's so low on this list. Number 6, The Goblet of Fire. I love the opening for this movie quite a bit at the, the Quidditch World Cup, and you have the Death Eaters coming in and setting, like tents on fire and just creating chaos and, kind of giving a preview of what it's going to be like when Voldemort is back. The actual, Goblet of Fire tournament itself is quite a fun, even though when you think about being a spectator, how fun could some of the events be, especially the underwater one? 'Cause it's not like you can watch and see what's going on down there, but as like a movie viewer, I love it. But I'm thinking as a fan there, how does that even work? And the movie is full of a lot of fun character moments for all of the main characters. Victor Crumb and Hermione, and Ron and Hermione kind of having their little tiff and love triangle. It always kind of puts a smile on my face. And the Voldemort scene at the end in the graveyard, I think, is really well done. I feel terrible for Cedric Diggory at the end. But the reason this movie falls to the lower half is I've always found the beef between Harry and Ron to be very annoying, and I think the movie also kind of tone shifts throughout quite a bit of whether or not it's a lighthearted rom-com, if it's a serious mystery thriller, and I just think it bounces around a lot. And there are parts of the movie that just feel really rushed at times, which I understand. This is a huge book and you're trying to condense it into the movie, but some of the other movies do it better, so that's kind of just what pulls it down to this bottom half. Number 5, The Sorcerer's Stone. This is such a strong start to the franchise. It absolutely nails the feel of the world. The casting is perfect. The color palette is bright and warm. And John Williams' score is just fantastic as always. And I think the movie does a really good job of what it keeps in the movie and what it leaves out from the book. In particular, not including Peeves, I think is a very strong move for the movies. I think he'll be fine in the TV show because they have more time to flesh it out, but I would have hated having to waste time on Peeves just tattletale bullshit throughout these movies. So I think it did a really good job choosing what was important to get in and what should be left out. And of all the movies, this is the one that just has the strongest sense of nostalgia for me because it was the first, and I do remember being so excited because the books came out when I was a kid, and this was one of the first movies I was super, super anticipating that wasn't a Star Wars movie, and I just such fond memories of this movie. The pacing is a bit slow at times as you're kind of getting introduced to the world, and there's a lot of exposition, and they do a good job of not just telling you all of it. They show you, but a lot of the stuff they show, they also have to explain. So it's just, the movie is a lot of show and tell up at the first half in particular. And even though I think they nailed the casting, this is obviously where the kid cast, not just the main 3, but everybody is so young. So the acting is the weakest, and it can be forgiven because they are kids, but you kind of, after you've seen how well the whole cast starts to groove in the later films, it really stands out when you go back and rewatch this film. Number 4, Deathly Hallows Part 1. I've heard the complaint this movie has a slow pace, and I can understand that because it is just a lot of walking through forests, setting up camp, creating plans, looking for items, people, things like that. But I think it works because there's tension throughout. It's a slow building tension. You never know if they're safe, how long it's going to be before they see the people they love, what they might run into. And so the slow pace feels deliberate in a way to help things sink in and let us process things with the characters and everything they're going through from the beginning of the movie to what they're currently going to, what you're watching on screen, is just, it's taking proper time to set up all the important things for the finale and rightfully turning the focus on the main group and just kind of fleshing out where their headspace is at. And the atmosphere of the film is, it's really good. Like you feel that tension. Like I was saying, the characters are alone and scared, and you get to the end where you have the death of Dobby, and that's probably the most emotional part of the entire franchise. Like my entire theater, including me, was crying when that happened. And so the fact that it just hits all of those notes so well, the slowness is a slowness I enjoy. Like I want more. And so I understand the complaint, but I love this movie. The only negative I have is because it is all set up, there really isn't a lot of payoff. Like it does manage to end on a that sad but strong note with the death of Dobby, but the lack of resolution, I can understand why that might bother people, but I don't think the pacing is issue because it's all fascinating to watch. Number 3, The Order of the Phoenix. I absolutely love this movie. The espionage vibe with Dumbledore's armies sneaking around behind Umbridge, I think is just fantastic. I think this is the movie that has the most badass Dumbledore moments. You have him escaping with the Phoenix, where he just like claps his hand together over the head as Fawkes flies over and he just bursts into flame and disappears, as well as his fight with Voldemort at the end is just badass. And it's one of those examples of, I actually think the movie fight is better than the book fight. I think it's just a lot cooler, and beyond like Dumbledore being a badass, it's nice to see Harry kind of step up and be more sure of himself, and you get to see him be a leader like with the Dumbledore army and help train people, and he's opposing Umbridge, and oh my god, like Umbridge and the oppression that she sets throughout Hogwarts through all of her policies and bullshit that she's pulling, she is easily the most hateable villain of the series, and it's so satisfying when she gets dragged off into the wood by the centaurs. Like it feels so good. Like when Harry tells her that he must not tell lies, like it's just so satisfying, and I love it. I think that even though it's the longest book by a pretty decent amount, you can feel them glossing over things because there's just a lot of montages in this movie, but I think what they kept in with the montages, it works. I think this is as good of a representation of that book as you really could hope for, and I think it's a lot more rewatchable than it gets credit for. Number 2, The Deathly Hallows Part 2. This is a perfect movie to end this franchise. A truly epic conclusion in every sense of the word. It delivers payoff for everything that you want, from like individual character wants, needs, relationships, but the final battle that's been built up, like the Siege of Hogwarts, is fantastic. It's riveting every single time that I watch it, and the cast has never been stronger than in this movie. Everything is firing on all cylinders. Everybody understands the world, their character, and it works so incredibly well. And the final confrontation between Harry and Voldemort feels satisfying. Like, I've heard some people describe it as being anticlimactic because as Harry wins, Voldemort just kind of crumbles into dust and floats away. But I thought there was something really, I don't know, kind of beautiful about that moment. And I think the movie does a really good job of hitting the right emotional beats throughout the entire thing, because these are characters that you've been watching for all 8 of these movies and deeply care about what happened to them. And everything that happens in this movie just feels like that's the way that it should have been done. The Deathly Hallows are the first movies that started that trend of splitting the final book into 2 pieces, and I do think that this is the only one that actually justifies it. Like, even though there are some complaints from people that the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is a little slow, I think like all the stuff packed into this movie needed to be in it. So you needed that setup movie before, and I am so glad that I got to experience this in theaters coming out. It was so special, and I was so hyped that it ended up being as good as it really was. Coming in at number 1, I'm going to go with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the movie that you see the change in tone for all of the movies going forward. The first 2 very much feel like they're made for kids, and then the 3 through 8 all have that darker tone that's very clearly meant more for teenagers, and it just matures everything. And I thought that was brilliant, aging up the movies with the core audience that kind of started with the books. And I think the tone it sets going forward it's perfect, which is why they kept it through until the end of the franchise. And you add in these great characters like Lupin and Sirius Black. Gary Oldman is just a perfect casting, and he's such a fun character to have when you think he's a threat, when you realize that he's Harry's godfather. The way that his character is kind of, is he good, is he bad throughout the thing, I thought was really fascinating. And the Peter Pettigrew reveal, I thought was awesome. Like, it came out of nowhere. Like, I never would have guessed that. And it shows how cool magic is, that there are people that are willing to go to these lengths and cast these spells and are able to do it so well that he's able to hold that form of a rat for forever. And you see him popping up on the map, and you're wondering, is it a ghost? What's going on? And so I just loved everything kind of with those characters. And when it turned out that Lupin and Sirius were, the old friends, I love learning more about Harry's parents' group of friends. They're great characters. And beyond that, you have your main 3 doing awesome main 3 stuff. Like, Hermione punching Malfoy in this movie is one of my favorite moments in all of the Harry Potter movies. But I think the true strength of this movie for me is the, like, Harry and Hermione time travel shenanigans and using the time turner and getting to see different events from different perspectives and having mysteries solved because you see where certain characters step in to do certain things that didn't make sense earlier in the movie. And I just like that Harry and Hermione got this adventure with just themselves together. I think they have a really fun dynamic, and the movie is just unbelievably entertaining. I have no complaints. I think it's perfect from start to finish. And of all the Harry Potter movies, this is the one that I am most likely to rewatch just itself. Like the Half-Blood Prince and Chamber of Secrets, those are ones that I'm only going to rewatch if I'm watching through the whole thing. But if I'm going to pull up just a Harry Potter movie, it's 99 times out of 100, it's going to be The Prisoner of Azkaban. I think it's great. And as I've gotten older, I only like it more and more. All right, so quick recap. Number 8, I have Chamber of Secrets. Number 7, The Half-Blood Prince. Number 6, The Goblet of Fire. Number 5, The Sorcerer's Stone. Number 4, Deathly Hallows Part 1. Number 3, The Order of the Phoenix. Number 2, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And coming in at number 1, The Prisoner of Azkaban. I absolutely love this franchise. I love this world. I think these movies were really as good as they could have been. Even though it has been a decent amount of time since they've passed, I am very nervous about the TV show. I think it's going to be hard to recreate that magic and to get the casting just as right as they did before. But I'm, of course, going to check it out because, like I said, love the world, and I am curious, but let me know your thoughts down below. What is your 1 through 8? What's your favorite? What's your least favorite if you don't want to do the whole ranking? And then, are you excited for the TV show? Are you not excited for the TV show? And let me know why. Working on some more videos that I'll have out for you very soon, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.